Kazuna is a clapped-looking soy boy who can't get no action, but his life turns for the better when girls take turns to gobble his glizzy so they can power up. Years ago, Kazuna was just a little kid when his mother left him to get some milk. He wakes up from that nightmare on a train to Ataraxia Academy, a place that trains people to fight against otherworldly threats, where his sister, the headmaster, invited him to come. As he arrives, he finds a Playboy magazine on the floor and takes it for his night fun session later. His sister calls him, and while Kazuna thinks that he's unworthy of joining Ataraxia Academy, his sister tells him that she needs him and demands him to meet her in HQ or she will release his browser history.
No, God!
However, Kazuna gets lost in his search for the HQ, but he sees a silver-haired girl near the sea, and she reminds him of a girl from his past. She confronts him, and while Kazuna tries to be polite, this girl starts yapping nonsense about how he would feel honored if he were to lick her feet, which Kazuna declines. She introduces herself as Ain, but before they talk more, an alarm starts, alerting them of an air raid attack incoming. Ain tells Kazuna to run away as she starts going plotful in front of his eyes.
I'm gonna come.
But as he sticks around for the show, she reveals that she's wearing a pilot suit. She activates her powers and undergoes a Power Ranger transformation, turning her clothes into a heart hybrid gear, which amazes Kazuna. Suddenly, a crusty-looking Gundam enemy flies in their direction, and Ain pulls out weapons hidden in the floor like she's John Wick and starts blasting. But with the bullets not having an effect, Ain flies to the magic tech, whacks him, and shoots it point blank. In the meantime, the city activates its defense system against threats while students control the HQ. Kazuna praises Ain for beating the magic tech, but she pulls out more guns to prepare for the upcoming horde of enemies. She tells him to evacuate, but Kazuna thinks to himself if he should join the fight. He remembers how his mother deemed his hard work useless, saying that without talent, he's nothing. Suddenly, another robot pops up behind him, but another pilot, Heiru, saves him and scolds Kazuna for still not evacuating. More robots appear, but they get blown to bits by another blonde bombshell of a pilot, Julisha, who teases Heiru, saying that she's dating Kazuna, which makes Heiru blush profusely. Julisha tells Heiru that they should quickly fight against these magic tech, and Heiru tells Kazuna to stop drooling and evacuate. As the plotful pilot girls are fighting the Magitech, a giant enemy ship shows up, and while Ain wants to keep fighting, her hybrid count is empty, making her weak and losing her powers. As she starts falling, Kazuna gathers his bravery, transforms into his heart hybrid gear, and saves Ain from falling. He opens his eyes to see Ain in her fan service form, and while she's unconscious, Kazuna's sister calls and tells him that to save Ain, he has to make her squeal out happy noises and cream to his touches. Despite his doubts, his sister tells him it's either plot progression or they will both die, so Kazuna chooses plot progression, and with each touch to her body, her hybrid count starts rising. Suddenly, a cannon blows up, and it accidentally pushes Kazuna into Ain's slice of heaven, but with their powers combined, Ain wakes up. Seeing their hybrid count rising, the sister encourages Kazuna to go nuts, and with the fate of the school on the line, Kazuna doesn't hold back. They both start glowing, and the sister explains that this is the heart hybrid, the true power of the heart hybrid gear. Ain looks down to see her plotful state and yeets Kazuna away, calling him a degenerate. However, she realizes that her hybrid count is high, making her feel light and powerful. With this, she flies up and fights the magic tech again, but this time she blitzes through the whole army. The other two girls praise her for her sudden power-up and ask her what happened. Ain wonders about that herself, and when she looks back to Kazuna, she wonders who this fine specimen really is. While Kazuna wonders the same thing about what happened, his sister, Riri, deems this mission a success and declares the heart hybrid as their secret weapon against the enemies, the same one who has destroyed the whole world. 15 years ago, a portal opened that connected the human world to another dimension filled with monsters. Every military was defeated, leaving the world in ruins, but then the monsters disappeared. However, 6 months ago, they appeared again, and while they left even more destruction, the government and a minority of the human population evacuated to oceanic megafloats. Now, Riri announces to Ataraxia Academy that their special team, humanity's greatest hope, Amaterasu, is fighting these monsters, and they consist of 3 pilots, Ain, Julisha, and Heiru. However, after the recent incident, Riri announces that they found a way to make their gears stronger, and as shown on screen, through Kazuna, who will join Amaterasu and perform steamy and plotful actions to the pilots. Heiru starts tweaking at Kazuna, demanding an explanation, but Riri tells her that it's necessary as Kizuna's action is able to drastically raise the pilot's hybrid count, making them stronger. This is called Heart Hybrid, and Riri orders every Amaterasu member and future member to prepare their cheeks for some plotful session with Kizuna in order to get stronger.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
While everyone is panicking, Kizuna tries to explain that he's not a degenerate, but after seeing how he transforms on screen, they deem him as the next P. Diddy. The next morning, Kizuna wakes up with Ain wanting to clap for the Heart Hybrid. But before they get to the action, Heiru knocks on the door, wanting to apologize for her words to Kizuna. As she walks in, she sees Ain on top of him and starts accusing Kizuna of being a creep, but Ain informs her that she was the one who wants his pickle, and after hearing this, both Heiru and Ain transform to fight, causing the room to explode. In class, while the female students express their disagreement about Kizuna and his golden pickle, Julisha defends him, saying that they shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Kizuna walks in with Heiru and Ain behind him, but when he meets Julisha, other students warn him to get his dirty schnitzel away from Julisha. However, Julika herself steps forward and offers him to jiggle her jugs right there in class, and it causes all three pilots to fight over him, wanting to reach Heart Hybrid. Suddenly, another student, Sylvia, walks in and tells Kizuna that Riri wants to speak to him. Then Sylvia takes him past the research lab, and there he sees his mother's picture, the person who started the hybrid project, and the person who left him. Kizuna meets Riri, who introduces him to the Stephen Hawking wanted, Kay, and gives him a personal phone that has the Amaterasu members' personal information. There he can see their hybrid count, and Kay explains that if their count drops below 5%, he needs to sharpen his stick and get to work. Riri tells him that he will now be the captain of Amaterasu and that the fate of the world is on his pickle.
My time has come.
And while he tries to decline, Riri tasks Sylvia to report back to her about his progress with the others. Then Amaterasu goes on a mission to gather data on an island, and while Riri warns Julisha that her hybrid count is too low to fight, she assures her that the island is safe. After they arrive, they gather the data, but Julisha quickly pulls Kizuna away for some alone time. During their walk, while Kizuna is distracted by her plots, Julisha asks him about his enemy body count, and he tells her it's 0, which shocks her to find out that he's a rookie. He asks her about her number, and she answers 300, and while he thinks she's amazing, she feels otherwise. Suddenly, an enemy portal opens in front of them, while from the sky, a mystery pilot creates a force field that stops all communication. Julisha performs an over-the-plot Sailor Moon transformation and attacks the magic tech, but when she tries to contact the other two pilots, her connection is dead. Meanwhile, both Ain and Heiru are trapped in the force field, preventing them from helping Julisha, but Julisha orders Kizuna to help the others, leaving Julisha to fight alone. While she manages to dominate the fight at first, her hybrid count drops extremely low, making her weak. A Draggery appears from the portal, and after Julisha tries attacking it to no effect, her body starts malfunctioning due to the low hybrid count, causing her suit to disappear in her body in pain. The Draggery charges an attack, but before it does damage, Kizuna blocks the attack. They both get yeeted away, and Julisha asks him why he protected her, and he tells her that it's because he's that much of a woman protecting Sigma. He tries to get Julisha to run away, but accidentally touches her buttons, causing her to make happy noises and raise her hybrid count. She suddenly starts glowing like glitter and her body overflows with power to the Heart Hybrid. When Kizuna opens his eyes, he sees Julisha in full power, smacking this dragon and turning it into a crispy lizard. Meanwhile, both Ain and Heiru are free from the force field, and when they check on Julisha, they see her ogling Kizuna, stating that she did Heart Hybrid with Kizuna, causing both Heiru and Ain to get jealous. Back home, after reporting to Riri what happened, Kizuna and Sylvia find Ain in his room, ready to get clapped. However, Julisha barges in, asking Kizuna to lay her the pipe, causing Ain to get jealous. Suddenly, Heiru comes in, and after seeing all of them, she starts a game of hide the pickle between all three of them. Days later, they undergo training, and while Ain manages to impress Kizuna and the trainers with her power, she rudely roasts all of them, stating that her training dummy is designed like trash, which offends the engineers. However, both Heiru and Julisha show an even higher level of strength, which everyone deems to be superior to Ain, and it makes Ain jealous. Later at school, Julisha comes to Kizuna, asking if he's impressed by her training performance, and after Kizuna compliments her, she asks him for a reward. They go sightseeing as the reward, but she asks Kizuna if the Tokyo float they're seeing is real, and Kizuna informs her that it's a replica as they didn't have a chance to move the real one here. She says that she wants to see the real thing, and Kizuna encourages her that she will after they win the war. They go to different places and end their date at Tokyo Tower. But Julisha confesses that when she almost died on the island, she felt like she wanted to experience more things in life like love, and she thanks him for saving her as she now has the chance to do so. On his way home, Kizuna sees Haruyu walking home from school and joins her. He praises her commitment to being part of the disciplinary committee to go home this late, stating he likes that about her. Haruyu folds and almost falls, but Kizuna catches her, and as they stare at each other, they accidentally activate Heart Hybrid, meaning Haruyu is thinking about his pickle. They suddenly hear loud noises from their house, and when they peek inside, they see Ain training. Haruyu adds that Ain always trained alone, refusing other people to join her, causing her to get avoided, and she wonders why Ain is so obsessed with fighting. But it reminds Kizuna of when he first met her. Following this, Kizuna asks around for information about Ain, but he gets caught by Ain herself. They then sit together, and while Kizuna wants to get to know her, she offers him a sandwich which he gladly accepts. After they finish eating, Kizuna is about to leave when Ain offers him something else. And while Kizuna is thinking of dessert, she offers him her hoo-ha sandwich. She explains that she read about some plotful public positions from multiple books, and she demands him to do a heart hybrid with her in that instance. She starts taking off her layers, and while Kizuna expects a pilot suit underneath, he is greeted by a pink surprise. She puts his hand on her plots and confesses that she doesn't care what happens as long as she gets strong enough to surpass the other pilots. Kizuna agrees to this plot development, pushes her down, and pressuring her flapjacks, but he suddenly stops, saying that they should get to know each other better first. Ain deems it impossible and runs away, and just as he's about to chase her, he gets a phone call from Riri who wants to meet. Then Riri takes him to a room, and there he remembers it as the room where he had surgery to install the Heart Hybrid Gear's core. Before Riri tells him something, he asks her about Ain and everything she knows about her. Riri tells him that Ain has no life record as she was found 7 years ago in Tokyo as a nameless child. However, Ain has high compatibility with the gears, so Kizuna's mom, Nayuta, used her as a test rabbit for experiments, but that ended when Nayuta disappeared. Kizuna realizes now that Ain has always been alone, and he wishes for more time to spend with her, but Riri informs him that they have no time. Kei opens a classified file, and they show Kizuna what's not meant for others to know. He sees his mother, Nayuta, testing a hybrid gear pilot, but during her flight, the pilot is panicking as her hybrid count is decreasing. However, Nayuta doesn't care and remote controls the pilot to keep flying, and despite her begging for her life, Nayuta forces the pilot to fly until she runs out of hybrid count, resulting in her death. Kizuna is shocked after seeing this, and Riri tells him that as the commander of the Amaterasu, he is the only one who knows the truth that the hybrid count is actually the life force of the pilots. He realizes that the others have their gear core installed without them knowing the full picture, and with anger, he asks Riri why she kept making them fight despite knowing this. While it does hurt her after knowing this, Riri tells him that this is the only weapon they have against their enemies, and she's willing to go to hell for this. But they inform him that with his heart hybrid, he is the only person who can save them. Back home, Sylvia warmly greets him with dinner and states that if he needs anything, she will help. He caresses her head and thanks her. Meanwhile, the girls are off doing their own thing. They all cream while thinking of the same person, Kizuna. Years ago, Nayuta informed Ain that her gear held a secret weapon called the Immoral Weapon, and she could use it if her hybrid count went to a certain high level, and hearing this motivated Ain. In the present, the town is under another attack, and while Kizuna wants to join his team, Riri shows him the number of enemies out there, and she tells him to sit back. Meanwhile, the Amaterasu is in full force as they annihilate the enemies from the air one by one like they're nothing. However, after seeing how much damage Heiru and Julisha can do, Ain is more determined than all of them to win this battle, wanting to prove to herself that she's better than them. Suddenly, a Dragori appears, and despite only having 55% of hybrid count, she goes full tilt and destroys the dragon to pieces. It leaves her with less than 10% of hybrid count, and while Kizuna is in her ear, begging her to retreat, she moves forward, straight to the enemy's mothership. Kizuna refuses to sit back and goes to help them, disobeying Riri's order. Back with the battle, Ain gets closer to the ship, but she gets blasted from all directions, causing her to free fall. In her consciousness, she sees Nayuta walking away and disappearing, and when she wakes up, she sees Kizuna waiting for her. They're both in the medical lab, and he explains that the enemies are landing on land as they speak. She tries to go back, but Kizuna stops her, showing that her hybrid count is not enough for her to equip her gear. However, she keeps trying and pleads to Kizuna to let her go, stating that the fight and her gear are all she has, and that if she can't do that, she's useless. She adds that she has nothing, no family, no memories, as all she was a test guinea pig for Nayuta. Ain informs him that she has an incredibly powerful, immoral weapon inside her, and that she found hope that she can achieve it after meeting him. She convinced herself that she had to make him love her, despite not knowing how to, even after reading Playboy magazines and degenerate Reddit communities. After hearing her yap for the past 20 minutes, Kizuna tells her to stop feeling sorry for herself and believe that she's worth something even without the gear and the fighting. She punches him, but stops at his face, asking why he didn't transform to stop her. She takes his phone, sees that he's also low on hybrid count. Then Kizuna confesses that he was also a test subject for his mother, Nayuta, but after she found someone better in Ain, she replaced him, deeming him useless. However, he tells Ain what Riri told him. A person's value is not decided by their abilities, but by how they live. They both state that they don't know how to live, but Kizuna invites her to find out together with him. Ain folds and asks him to do heart hybrid with her, and he comforts her, saying that he'll be gentle. Then they get right into business, playing DJ on her flapjacks and whisking her pepperoni. They start glowing as their hybrid count rises, but Ain still wants more, and this time, she wants to gobble his glizzy, asking him to take responsibility. While Kizuna panics, Kate pops up and explains that while Ain is in a feral state, he needs to take advantage and reach a higher level called the Climax Hybrid. Ain begs him to take her to Cloud 9, and Kizuna gets to work using his gentle touches, making her squeal out happy noises and cream. Her eyes change into hearts while she's in a trance, but Kizuna refuses to stop, sending her to the promised land and unlocking her immoral weapon. Then Ain rejoins the battlefield, saving the others, and with her new level of power, she summons her immoral weapon, Pulverizer. She connects herself to the weapon, and while she charges it up, Kizuna buys her time, and after a few minutes, the gun is ready, and she shoots it, completely obliterating the enemies without a trace and winning the battle. Then they celebrate their victory. But while Kizuna is alone, Ain comes beside him. She tells him that when he was giving her the ultimate snoo-snoo, she saw a memory from her past, consisting of various beautiful and interesting places. Just as she is asking Kizuna to do it again, the other girls show up, and Ain boasts to them that she is Kizuna's favorite. Meanwhile, in her office, Kei shows Riri a video that during Ain's Kamehameha, a human is spotted wearing their gear, and Riri wonders who this person is. Days later, after getting permission from Riri, Kizuna goes to the girls' bathhouse where he can have the place all to himself. However, as he walks in, he's greeted by Heiru in her plotful state bathing. They both start panicking, and Heiru transforms and blows up the whole place. Then they both find out that Riri set up Kizuna to be in that situation, and when Heiru asks Riri why, she explains that from all the pilots, she's the only one who hasn't experienced heart hybrid with Kizuna. Heiru walks away, not wanting to do it, but she still remembers how he saved her, and during class, she keeps stealing glances at him. Suddenly, Kizuna gets a call from Riri, asking him to come to a warehouse, and there, Riri shows him a simulator that is able to change environments, clothes, and even mood. Kizuna realizes what this is, and Riri admits that it's a love simulator designed to smoothen the process of heart hybrid, named the Love Room. While Kizuna tries to decline her idea, Riri turns into Mai's son on plot steroids. While ordering him to use this room, he realizes that what she's wearing is Kizuna's type. Following this, Kizuna invites Julisha into the Love Room, which excites her. But when he scrolls to the room options, he lands on the 50 Shades room, which Julisha is a fan of. While she asks him to change the room to something else, Kizuna takes it a step further and changes their clothes to fit the room's aesthetics, saying that the system is broken. Julisha can see through his devious intention and goes straight for plot progression, but Kizuna presses a button and puts her in blindfolds, raising her hybrid count even more. He starts going to town, pinching pepperonis and molding cakes, and he keeps doing it until she can't take it anymore and cream, causing her hybrid count to reach its maximum. Following this, Kizuna goes to Heiru and uses his Reese to get her into the love room with him, but Sylvia pops up, showing her grades, and asks Kizuna to praise her, and this causes Heiru to get jealous and walk away. The next day, the team gathers and Riri informs them that they have received a signal from Guam, which used to be a US military base before it was abandoned. Not knowing if the signal is sent by a friend or an enemy, Aang assures them that she can use the pulverizer if needed. However, Julicha reminds her that her immoral weapon disappears after the battle, never seen again, so this time, Julicha wants to experience Climax Hybrid and get her own weapon, but Aang disagrees and they start fighting over Kizuna. Later they arrive at Guam and split up, with Kizuna teaming up with Hayaru. While Aang and Julicha find the abandoned post where the signal was from, Kizuna and Hayaru go to the city where Hayaru finds a doll on the floor. They hear a survivor, but when they follow the voice, they find a girl chilling drinking tea. The girl tells them that they're not who she's waiting for, and she transforms into her hybrid gear, which surprises them. She introduces herself as Aldia, from the kingdom of Batlantist, or what the humans would consider an outer-worlder. Aldia opens a portal behind her and starts attacking them, and when Hayaru tries to fight back, Aldia easily returns her attacks. She switches her attention to Kizuna and yeets him away, and just as she's about to annihilate Hayaru, an explosion happens and both Aang and Julicha show up. Aang goes for the attack, and Aldia tells her that she's the one she's been waiting for after she saw her use the pulverizer. Despite Kizuna and Hayaru trying to defeat her, Aldia feels bored, and from the portal, it releases an explosion. From it, out comes a three-headed dragon, making Hayaru remember her dark past. She gets aggressive and goes straight at it, but her efforts do not affect the dragon's armor. The others try to do the same but only get the same result, so Kizuna orders them to retreat, and while Hayaru refuses, he tells her it's an order, which she follows. Back in HQ, the team analyzes the enemy they're facing, starting with Aldia, a person from beyond the portals who has space warping abilities, and the Tri-Head, the dragon that they now classify as a high-rank enemy. Seeing the dragon in action triggers Hayaru's memory, and she demands that they go back and turn this lizard into a Christ. Despite their best attempt to calm her down, she calls them chicken cowards and hides in her room, cooped up on the floor. Kizuna is about to talk to her when he sees that her bedroom door is open, and when he tracks her down, she's nowhere in the house. Back in Guam, while Aldia is being chilling, Hayaru tries to attack her but fails. She asks her about the Tri-Head's whereabouts, and Aldia feels disrespected that Hayaru is more interested in the dumb lizard than in her, so she transforms. They start fighting, and despite Hayaru's best efforts, Aldia makes her look like a child's toy. And with her space warping powers, she locks her in a space prison. She starts twisting Hayaru's bones like she's playing Extreme Twister, but before she breaks, Julicha and the others show up to save her. Hayaru asks Kizuna why he's here to save her, and he answers that his harem is his biggest treasure. Then, while Julicha is blasting at Aldia, Aang shows up and manages to land a hit on her, which amazes her. Aldia asks Aang about her name and armor, and after she finds out, Aldia stops attacking and retreats by summoning the dragon to play with them. While Hayaru wants to fight again, her armor disappears as her hybrid count drops too low. Suddenly, Riri shows up in a chopper and drops the love room in front of them, telling Kizuna to sharpen his pickle and lay Hayaru the pipe. He carries her inside and asks her if something happened between her and the Tri-Head. She tells him about how she was once tasked to evacuate people to the Tokyo float, but then the Tri-Head showed up and turned everyone to dust, leaving her helpless. Hayaru felt guilt that she couldn't done more, saying that she should have trained more instead of being at parties and social events. She feels that she could have saved more, but Kizuna tells her that despite her failure, she also saved a lot of people, including him the first time they met. Kizuna confesses that he knows how it feels to be useless as he's a pilot who can't fight. But with Hayaru by his side, he feels that they can win by getting the immoral weapon inside her. Hayaru folds and agrees to experience the Climax Hybrid, and the room suddenly changes into Hayaru's preference. As Kizuna gets to work, Hayaru feels insecure about her melon's size, but Kizuna rises her by saying that a big melon fills a man's hand, but a small melon fills up a man's heart. Kizuna goes full Johnny Sins and has a taste of her flapjacks, causing her to reach the heart hybrid. The room then changes again with Hayaru changing clothes, but Kizuna keeps going, slowly taking her to Cream City and finally reaching Climax Hybrid. Then, Hayaru joins the fight and summons her immoral weapon, the Gladius Blade. She goes straight for the dragon, and with her new weapon in hand, she slashes the lizard to bits in one hit. With the dragon defeated, they try to jump Aldia, but she easily defeats them. While Kizuna doesn't have any weapons, he suddenly opens a portal and pulls out Hayaru's weapon, an effect from doing the Climax Hybrid with her, They start getting the upper hand on Aldea, but she summons another portal with multiple ships coming out of it. As things are looking bleak, their backup comes from the sea as the US team comes to their aid. Just as Aldea is about to start an all-out war, her higher-up calls her back, demanding her to retreat. After everything calms down, the group realizes that with her new weapon, Heiru has experienced Kizuna's almighty pipe, and despite her attempts to defend herself, the girls deem her a degenerate just like them. Suddenly, the US hybrid team shows up, boasting that they were the reason the enemies retreated. But when Julisha, a fellow American, greets their leader, Scarlet, she gets angry and tells Julisha to stay away. In a dream, Ain sees herself in another world, and visions of her past come to her. But before she gets to see further, she wakes up from that nightmare. In HQ, Riri and Kei discover a way to close down the portal, and they combine Team Amaterasu and Team USA into a joint operation. In the cafeteria, while Kizuna is enjoying lunch with Fat McJugger's Julisha, Scarlet and her team show up to join them to eat. Scarlet starts tempting Kizuna, asking him about his powers and wanting to test drive his gear stick herself, but Julisha tells her to go away from her precious Kizuna. While they argue, Kizuna notices Ain eating alone, but before he gets to accompany her, Scarlet pulls him away. Then Julisha tries to win him back, but as Scarlet refuses to do so, they go to the arcade to compete for Kizuna. They play different games from boxing, shooting, doll fetching, and even singing, but they end up in a draw, so they bring Kizuna to a swimsuit store. There, they show Kizuna their swimsuits to decide who's better, but being salty, Scarlet yoinks Julisha's top and takes Kizuna away to the changing room for some alone time. She asks him about the heart hybrid and asks him to give her the deed, but they slip and end up in a plotful position. She covers his mouth to make him stop talking, but in doing so, she starts making happy noises and activates the heart hybrid. Afterward, while Kizuna tries to explain himself to Julisha, she states that she's fine and walks away, leaving him with Scarlet. He asks Scarlet if she is friends with Julisha, and she gets angry, stating that Julisha used them. She tells Kizuna the story of how Julisha once sent Scarlet's team to fight against a Dragory, which took a toll on the team, but after the Dragory is weakened, Julisha shows up, defeats the monster, and takes all the credit. Kizuna tries to defend Julika, and it only angers Scarlet more, so she walks away. Julisha shows up, and after listening to her every word, Kizuna asks her for the truth, but Julisha walks away, refusing to answer. Meanwhile, in the kingdom of Batlantis, a celebration is happening, and while Aldea eats with her friend Gravel, they reminisce about their past battle against each other. Aldea suddenly gets feral and initiates a snoo-snoo session with Gravel, and as the session gets spicier, they both play till the morning and decide to launch another attack. Back in HQ, Ain is frustrated trying to find files about herself, but then Kizuna walks in, offering her some cookies Sylvia made, and while she tries to reject them, her stomach growls hungrily, proving otherwise. While she's eating the cookies with an attitude, Kizuna tells Ain that despite him not knowing her issues, he wants her to talk to him whenever she needs him. Just as Ain is about to tell him about her dream, the alarm sounds off, and on the outside, Gravel shows up alone with her battleship. The Academy quickly acts, and despite the numbers advantage she faces, Gravel demands them to give up Ain to her. A sniper shoots at Gravel, but when she easily dodges it, she sees it as an invitation to fight. When Gravel transforms, her power blows up like a nuke, and when Kizuna and his team arrive, the whole place is destroyed. Scarlet sees her teammates defeated, which triggers her to attack Gravel, but she easily handles her rockets and counters with a blast, which takes everything in Kizuna's power to block. The girls start attacking Gravel, delivering their best attacks, but with the knowledge and experience she has over them, Gravel easily defeats them one by one. Then she approaches the wounded Ain, and despite her best efforts to fight back, Gravel ragdolls her easily. Kizuna gets up, wanting to defend Ain, but Gravel eats him away. Gravel then confronts Ain and offers her to come with her if she wants to know the truth about herself. But Kizuna gets up and demands Gravel to not touch Ain. With her message already sent, Gravel retreats, and Riri quickly sends the medical team to them. With Gravel gone, Kizuna collapses, and Ain screams out his name. A week later, after Kizuna recovers, the team greets him in tears, and Riri welcomes him back. With the team back in full strength, Riri briefs them about Gravel, who they analyze to be stronger than Aldea, and is after Ain and her Gear Zeros. Kizuna asks Ain if she knows anything, but she reveals that she doesn't. Riri then tells them about their next mission, taking back Japan, and while they already cooked up a plan, She informs them that Gravel is there, so they need a different approach. She informs them about Connective Hybrid, which means that Eros, owned by Kizuna, will do hot yoga with two pilots at once, creating an overwhelming energy to give them a chance against Gravel by acquiring an even more powerful immoral weapon. Despite the girls' objection, Riri convinces them that two girls and one guy action is what they need, and you viewers need to see on screen, so Kizuna suggests that Julisha and Scarlet get the first go. Then, Kizuna contacts Scarlet, and she ends up in a hot bath with both him and Julisha for their training. While she tries to reject this idea, Kizuna uses his Rees and says that two girls, one guy are better than two girls, one cup. Julisha starts getting chummy with Kizuna, causing Scarlet to get jealous, but she slips and ends up on Kizuna's manly body. Julisha joins in and they sandwich Scarlet in the middle, between a soft and a hard place. The three of them go nuts, and with the friction they create, they reach Heart Hybrid. However, it's still not enough, so they all go full commando. But to deepen their relationship, Kizuna pulls out footage from the past when Scarlet was best friends with Julisha. After seeing all the good times she had with Julisha, Scarlet hugs her, and is now convinced that she didn't betray her. With Kizuna's encouragement, Julisha reveals that initially, she lied and sent Scarlet and her team away somewhere else to prevent Scarlet's rockets from hitting the city, but what she didn't know was that a Draggery would show up where she sent Scarlet's team. However, she does admit that she did take the credit and become America's ace, but Scarlet now remembers that despite Julisha already injured, she still fought against the Draggery alongside her. With their beef gone, Julisha encourages Scarlet for them to tag team Kizuna together, putting him in a position that any man would love to be in. After a couple of shots of cream and various squeals of happy noises, they achieve Connective Hybrid through a 2-on-1 plotful actions, and enhance their power tremendously as they all reach Nirvana. Afterward, while Gravel and Aldia wait for Ain, she shows up to attack them and asks if they know who she is. Before they get to answer, a stronger Julisha and Scarlet appear, and they order Ain to help out Kizuna in other areas, leaving Gravel and Aldia to them. After Ain leaves, they start the battle, and Scarlet starts off strong, shooting her rockets at them and managing to push them back. However, she was buying time for Julisha to summon her immoral weapon, the Crosshead. With her new tool, Julisha heads straight for Gravel, and Aldia is there to block her, but Julisha kicks her weapon to second gear and shoots an even bigger blast, bypassing Aldia's shield, causing the enemies to fall. While both Scarlet and Julisha celebrate, Gravel comes out carrying an unconscious Aldia, and she summons her own weapon, the sword Gatling, to release her full power. She starts blasting like Danny DeVito, but Kizuna shows up to block her, but it still manages to hit both Scarlet and Julisha, leaving him the only one fighting. After the Connective Hybrid he transforms into the same power as Julisha, and he flies to the sky, followed by Gravel. As Gravel charges her gun, he goes full Gilgamesh and summons every gun he knows and shoots it at Gravel, causing them to have a clash of beams. Slowly, Gravel gets closer to her victory, but Kizuna suddenly summons Scarlet's rockets and blasts all of them at Gravel, successfully hitting her and giving him the victory. As they both fall, Heiru catches Kizuna from the sky, but with her last energy, Gravel crawls to Aldia and they retreat, but she flies past Ain and tells her that she will be hers. Meanwhile, with Gravel and Aldia defeated, all the portals are successfully closed by Riri and her team, and as Team Ataraxia gets their victory, Ain does not, as she still wonders who she really is. Days later, before they start their invasion to take back Japan, the Academy has a festival for the students. In class, while at first Kizuna is lecturing boys on how to stay hard like David Goggins, the boys demand him to cut the boring part and get to the plotful bits. After hearing their request, Kizuna pulls out the data of the girls he did hot yoga with, and as the boys are drooling, Kizuna teaches them the tips and tricks to batter the whipped cream, mold the cakes, and juice the pepperonis. He starts showing the sensitive zones and uses Heiru as the example, shown in one of their sessions. But Heiru herself barges in and blows up the place to pieces for its degeneracy. After his lecture, he wants to check out the girls' idol rehearsal, but when he gets there, he sees Julisha and Heiru panicking. He asks them what's wrong, and they explain that despite their best effort, they can't find Ain anywhere, so Kizuna decides to help them out. During his search, he runs into one of Scarlet's injured teammates, and while he wishes her well, he asks her if she saw Ain, to which she hasn't. He then goes to a haunted house and asks Sadako if she has seen Ain, but instead of answering, she and all the girls there run away. Suddenly, he sees Sylvia there, who also states that she hasn't seen Ain, but Kizuna has another idea. He pulls her away to Julisha and Haruyu, telling them that if Ain doesn't show up, Sylvia will take her place, and while Sylvia refuses to do it, Julisha pulls her in and forces her to do a rehearsal. He then goes to the engineering class, but instead of answering his questions, they force him to be a test rabbit for their new railgun, and while they assure him that it's safe to use, Kizuna pulls the trigger and everything explodes. He then looks in the manga club where he finds Kei, who's selling Kizuna and Riri spicy Alabama comics. While it freaks Kizuna out, he asks about Ain's whereabouts, which Kei reveals that she doesn't know. He then goes to a maid cafe run by Scarlet and her team, and before he gets to ask them about Ain, they sit him down, hand him a menu, and demand him to order. However, he realizes that he doesn't have time for this and tries to leave, but they hand him a bill and say that he either pays or they get to take turns on him. Meanwhile, in the kingdom of Batlantis, Gravel is being punished like she's from 50 Shades because she betrayed her people by hiding Ain's existence from them. Their leader, Zelchion, orders her soldiers to ready the armada to head to Earth and find Ain, even if it means making humans extinct. Gravel begs her to stay from Earth, saying that as she was also once a victim of the Batlantis invasion, she doesn't want the same fate for humans. However, Zelchion doesn't care and starts the punishment, making Gravel feel both extreme pain and pleasure, sending her senses into insanity, while making her scream and bleed at the same time. Despite the torture, Gravel believes that Aldia will save her, but Zelchion suddenly pulls a chain and it's pulling Aldia, who is now her pet after Zelchion made her scream over and over again. Using her power, Zelchion demands Gravel to tell her where Ain is hiding, but as she's about to go to Earth with her armada, Nayuta shows up and asks for her time. Back on Earth, it's time for the performance, but with Ain missing, Sylvia takes her place, and they perform as a trio. Meanwhile, even with the performance started, Kizuna is still looking for Ain, and he's worried about her. He finds her alone in a classroom, and when he asks her what's wrong, she reveals that every time she does a heart hybrid, her memories come back, but she doesn't like what she saw, as what she saw was another world. She states that she doesn't want to do heart hybrid anymore, saying that she's scared that she won't be herself anymore. But Kizuna assures her that Ain will always be Ain to him. As he forwards his hand, she remembers her past when she met a younger Kizuna who looked to help her. But unlike before when she ran away, this time she accepts his hand. After calming her down, Kizuna takes off her clothes, reveals her plots, and goes to work, making us viewers jealous. As Kizuna gets more aggressive by the second, Ain's squeals get louder, and when they do the heart hybrid, Ain sees the kingdom of Batlantis in her vision, causing her to freak out and start tweaking. After the concert ends, they suddenly get an alert, same with Kizuna, as Riri tells him to gather Amaterasu as an enemy fleet has appeared. They go straight for the smoke, but when they spot the enemy ship, both Riri and Kizuna are taken aback seeing their mother, Nayuta, on the ship. Kizuna goes to confront her, asking why she's there, and Nayuta tells him that she needs to go to Batlantis for her research. Riri pops in and starts cussing out Nayuta, demanding an explanation, but as Nayuta keeps yapping nonsense, refusing to answer, Riri commands Kizuna to bring Nayuta back. However, she's just a hologram and tells them to go to Tokyo if they want to see her again. Kizuna asks her how to remove the gear's core so he can save them, but Nayuta disappears before answering, and when he tries to get her, monsters start attacking him from portals. Ain saves him, but a midget gear user, Rhaegar, attacks them, but before she does anything, the ship starts shaking and flies back to the other world. Back in HQ, Riri informs them that after seeing her here, Riri is certain that Nayuta was the person who sent the signal from Guam, consisting of the data that helps them close the portals. With this, Riri decides that their next mission will be to Tokyo, and while the others agree, Ain gets upset and walks away. But before Kizuna gets to chase her, Riri has another task for him. Then she tells him to pick another member for Amaterasu and shows him the candidates so they can have extra firepower for Tokyo. After seeing the list, Kizuna goes to Sylvia and offers her the role, deeming her worthy to join the Amaterasu. While Sylvia is excited, saying that it's her dream, Kizuna tells her to reconsider, saying that it can be dangerous. However, Sylvia takes his words as him not wanting her to join, and she runs away upset. After Kizuna chases her and calms her down, he tells her that he doesn't want to be the captain responsible for her death, but Sylvia begs him to join Amaterasu so she can find the parents she lost in London and she can fight alongside him. Then, after accepting Sylvia, he takes her to a private room,
FBI, open up!
And after he installs the gear's core inside her body. The next day, while Ain is alone staring at the abyss, Kizuna comes to talk to her, and without asking, she comes close to him. He tells her that she needs to do heart hybrid as her hybrid count is low, but she assures him that she's fine and that it was a mistake for her to vent to him and cry about her pathetic little dreams. Despite Kizuna worrying about her, she leaves, stating that she's excited about the mission as the best pilot in the universe. But as she walks away, she feels angry at herself for lying. Meanwhile, Hayaru is anxious about taking back Tokyo, and while Julisha listens to her vent, Hayaru tells her that despite her fear, she looks forward to the future due to Kizuna. Julisha agrees, and while she's looking at her picture with Kizuna, she's happy that a Sigma like him manages to change her. Hayaru adds that it feels like a new beginning, but Julisha wonders that it's also a new beginning for Ain. In the lab, Kizuna looks around to see where everything began, and he remembers the past when he first met Ain, who doesn't know anything about herself, but he told her that he will help her find out. With this memory, Kizuna knows that despite her tough shell, Ain is a crybaby like any other girl. The next morning arrives, and the Tokyo float goes to the real Tokyo for the battle. While the Amaterasu regroups, the alarm starts ringing as the place is getting attacked from the ocean. While the soldiers try their best to defend themselves, Scarlet and her team show up, telling Amaterasu to go to Tokyo and win the place back. So they transform like Power Rangers and fly straight to Tokyo. On their way there, they meet some enemies, and Kizuna orders them to split up, but before he reaches the destination, he gets attacked. However, Kizuna manages to dodge and avoid the enemies before landing in a train tunnel. Inside, after he reaches his mission point destination, he puts down a signal tracker, and the others follow suit, giving HQ the radar they need. Riri then sends another team to seal the portals, while Kizuna exits the tunnel, ready for battle, but he suddenly arrives at Tokyo before the destruction, and it confuses him. As he looks around, all he sees is a peaceful snowy day with happy people everywhere, but suddenly, Nayuta shows up with an enemy accompanying her. Everything suddenly goes back to reality, and Nayuta explains that what he just saw was magic that she used to absorb a corpse's life force by making their soul see an illusion of the good old days, and sending that energy back to Batlantis. She plans to do this to the whole world. But Kizuna has enough of her crazy experiments and promises to bring her back and force her to explain how to remove the gear's core from people. She tells him that it's impossible as the core they're using is from another world, which now uses their life force instead of what should have been Meijin. Kizuna realizes that everyone is screwed, and as he starts tweaking from insanity, he goes to attack his own mother, only to get blocked by her guard. Suddenly, Rager shows up with more robots, but before Kizuna is about to fight, he realizes that he can't endanger the people's souls, so he drags Rager's and the monsters away to somewhere else. Then, as the monsters corner Kizuna, he summons Amaterasu, and the girls show up to assist him, destroying the robots, but then Rager's pulls up for a fight. Minutes later, she manages to beat Hayaru and Julisha, leaving Ain alone to buy Kizuna time to heal the others. However, despite her best efforts, Rager's manages to hit critical damage on Ain, meeting her back, and only for Kizuna to catch her. Rager's tells them that she will take Ain with her while annihilating the rest, but just as she's about to clap Kizuna from existence, reinforcement arrives in the form of a transformer, and inside it is Sylvia controlling it. As Rager's is pissed, she turns this battle into a mecha battle between two midget pilots. As they both trade blows, Sylvia gets the upper hand using her guns, showing Rager's to not bring fists to a gunfight, and despite Rager's attempts to use her plot armor, Sylvia blows her up, showing that her plot armor is dog water. After she's beaten, Rager starts tweaking, refusing defeat, and with her final attempt, she turns her robot into a nuke, blowing everything up and destroying the city of Tokyo. However, Sylvia plans to use her immoral weapon, and while Kizuna tries to stop her, she flies straight to the explosion. With her weapon, Titania at full power, she defuses the explosion by using a black hole, absorbing every atom. Then Kizuna checks on Sylvia and praises her for her greatness, while Nayuta watches from afar, taking interest in Sylvia's hybrid gear. However, the battle is not over, and while their hybrid counts are low, Riri comes in clutch and drops a love rune in front of them, telling Kizuna to get his golden pickle busy. Kizuna starts with Hayaru and tells the others to provide support. Meanwhile, Scarlet's whole team is wiped out with their plots exposed by Zelchion, and when Scarlet tries to attack her, Zelchion gets behind her and gives her the wet dream of a lifetime. Back in the love room, while Hayaru is glazing on Kizuna's golden pickle, Ain keeps getting distracted out of jealousy, wanting Kizuna all for herself. Then they reach the heart hybrid where Hayaru creams harder than before, and it gives her a full hybrid count. As they exit the room, Julisha teases Hayuru's squeals for being too loud and asks that she be the next in line for the hybrid heart. However, a robot shows up, but before it does any harm, Ain destroys it and she drags Kizuna into the love room, bypassing Julisha's turn for the almighty Snoo Snoo. Despite her hybrid count being pretty high, Ain demands Kizuna to lay her the pipe, stating that she wants to get her immoral weapon by gobbling his glizzy and reach the climax hybrid. Kizuna changes the room into a classroom full of students, following Ain's preference, and starts progressing the plot with Ain, telling her to hold back her happy noises. The teacher then calls her up, and when she goes to face the blackboard, she's going full commando, and the students start talking about how they can see her plot hole, causing her to get even more excited. Ain then hugs Kizuna, calling him an idiot, but she still wants more from him so they can reach climax hybrid. Meanwhile, as Julisha and Hayuru defend the love room, they contact Sylvia, but when she answers, she is squealing out happy noises. While it confuses them, Zalshinon shows up behind them, ready to make them submit and be her pet. Back in the love room, after holding back her embarrassment, Ain needs a wee. But Kizuna changes the room into a stage, stating that the people are here to watch her cream. He starts going nuts on Ain, refusing to let her take a breather, and after his relentless touches, she gets close to climax hybrid. In her consciousness, she sees more visions and her younger self, which freaks her out. They fail in getting the climax hybrid, and while Ain feels guilty and wants to try again, the room gets attacked. They run out and see the girls beaten like little dolls by Zalshion, and she explains that with her power, she sends the girls' souls deep inside their own nightmares. For Meiru, she faces the tri-head where she fails to save the people she promised to save. For Julisha, she fails to save Scarlet and the others from getting clapped to death. Zalshion offers them to be a Batlentis life force source if they surrender, but after seeing the fate of the Tokyo people, Kizuna tells her that she can slip in the shower instead. Zalshion then turns her attention to Ain, teasing her about her truth, and she uses her powers to send her soul deep into her own mind and nightmares. With Ain unconscious, Kizuna is left alone, but he still puts up a fight, demanding for his harem to be returned. While he fights desperately, Zalshinon wonders how long will he last, so she orders a stronger robot and it pushes Kizuna back. However, Kizuna uses Ain's power and starts clapping these robots, but after seeing his ability, Zalshinon gets involved and starts attacking him, wanting him to be her pet. While he's down, his soul still wants to protect the girls and it reaches their souls, comforting them from their nightmares. Kizuna gets back up and Kamen Rider transforms into his gear again, but this time he unlocks a new mode where he can use every girl's power and weapons. After defeating the robots, it leads him against Zalshion, and while she manages to stab him, he uses it to his advantage and punches her back, which angers her. The girls wake up, and while he's distracted, Zalshinon destroys his armor out of anger. Meanwhile, Ain is following her younger self into her core, and she remembers the truth that her core was installed not by Nayuta, but from another world. She then reaches a door consisting of her truth, and while her younger self tries to warn her, she opens the door. Back in the battle, Zalshinon uses her power to make Ain go against Kizuna, but in her consciousness, she sees a young Kizuna trying to save her, but suddenly, her soul gets hijacked. Her body starts attacking Kizuna, but her soul is begging that she wants to become one with Kizuna, and because of this, she stops her attack and goes back to normal. Ain unlocks her climax form, and before Zalshion gets to her, Kizuna blocks her. In her mind, this time she reaches for Kizuna's hand, and now she unlocks her forbidden weapon, Code Breaker, which destroys all of her enemies, frees the people under Zalshion's spell, and closes all the portals. Back in HQ, everyone celebrates, and both Riri and Kei are proud of their success. Back with Ain, she turns back to normal, and before the other girls get to them, she holds Kizuna's hand. They then watch the sunset together, but suddenly, a new challenger appears, Princess of the Batlentis Empire, teasing us of a battle in the Season 2 that will never come. Comment clapping cheeks equals power if you want more anime like this recapped, and if you like anime recaps like this, then watch this video right here.